Amen. Hare Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jagapate Gopisha Gopisha Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapa Kanchana Varangi Vade Vindasvastarai Vispadam Sute Devi Pranamame Hare Priya Pancha Kapataru Varyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaya Evatscha Patitanam Bhavani Bhayo Vaishnave Vayo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Veta Gahar Shri Bhakti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now we were on chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. Starting at verse 36 today, doing 11 verses, Sanskrit translation purport. That way we hear the entire Bhagavad Gita in 3 months' time. Dayutam chalatyatam asmi Tejas tasvinam aham Jayosmi Vashvasvayosmi Sattvam datam aham. I am also gambling of the cheats, and the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Vishnunam Vasudevsmi Bhagavanam Nagranjaya Muninam Kiyaham Vasyasa Vishnunam Vishnan Kavye. Of the descendants of Vishnu, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas I am Arjuna. Of the sages I am Vaishya, and among the thinkers I am Usana. Text 38. Dando dhamanyatam asmi nityasmi jigiri saptam manam chaisvasmi guryatnam Jnanapatamaham. Among punishments I am the rod of chastisement, and of those who seek victory I am morality. Of secret things I am silence, and of the wise I am wisdom. Text 39. Yachchapi sarvabhutanam bijantaveham arjuna natarasti vinayatsinyan mayam bhutam characharam. Furthermore, Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. Text 40. Namtosni mama divyanam vibhutinam paratapa ishate jasata prokto vibhutirvistaramaya. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulence. Text 41. Yadya vibhuti matsattva srimad ujitvam isvabha tattari vajachataputam mama tejo mishyasvabhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from a spark of my splendor. Text 42. Atava bahunatena kim gyatena tarvarjuna vishtaparyam idam krishnam ikashena shito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Chapter 11, Universal Form. Text 1. Arjuna Vacha Maragurajaya Paramam Guya Mariatmo Samgitam Yatayaktum vachastena mahoyam vigato mama. Arjuna said, I have heard your instruction on confidential spiritual matters, which you have so kindly delivered unto me. My illusion is now dispelled. Text 2. Bhaviyapya yohi bhutanam shrutayo vishtrastu maya tatta kamala pachacha mahatmayam api chayayam. Translation. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and realized through your inexhaustible glories. Text 3. Ivamita yatatutta twam atmanam parvaspara drastumishamite rupam Asparam Purushottama. Translation. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before you, your actual position, I yet wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Final verse this evening, text 4. Manyase yadi chachakyam maya drashtumiti prabho yogeshvara tato me tvam daryasyatmanam avyayavyam. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that universal self. Turning to text 36. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, Hastings Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I'm also the gambling of cheats, and the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Purport. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the Supreme Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among enterprising industrialists, he is the most enterprising. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous. And among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one could surpass him in cheating. No one could surpass him in splendor. No one could surpass him in victory. No one could surpass him in enterprise. And no one could surpass him in strength. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I am also the gambling of cheats, and the splendor, I am the splendor, I am the victory, I am the adventure, and the strength of the strong. Gambling. Oh. Gambling. I spent my fair share of time in casinos. I've worked for casinos and I've also played in casinos. And one thing they're definitely set up is to cheat you. Because they do not like advantage players. If you know how to count cards, they want no part of you. They will discover you out real quickly. And they will kick you off the table. You can play any of the other games in the casino. But you're counting our cards in blackjack. We don't like that. That gives you the advantage. We're wanting to cheat you. You can't have that advantage. Casinos are like that. Gambling is like that. It's meant to cheat you. When I was working up in Cripple Creek, Colorado, it's a small gambling town in Colorado. It's an old mining town that historic town that they brought in the casinos to keep the town alive. It's a small town, about 10,000 people. But I was working for a casino up there, and one day the CEO had a meeting, and kind of a company meeting, and he was talking to us, and he goes, "Casinos weren't built upon winners. Casinos were built upon losers." That really stuck with me. Casinos want the losers. Casinos want want people that are wanting to be cheated. Gambling is like that. They have everything so cleverly figured out. Like I said, in blackjack, they watch players very carefully to make sure they're not counting cards, because they're counting the cards as the cards are being dealt. And if the count is high to where it's where the player has the advantage, and they start seeing the players making really large bets during the time the count is high, that's how they pick out the players that are counting cards. Because they're counting the cards as the players are counting cards. So the players that are naturally putting out higher bets during that time, when the count is high, that's when they say, that's when you have a pit boss that comes up and taps them on the shoulder and asks them to leave the table. But a lot of times they'll try to they wait for that perfect opportunity, wait for that advantage player to take a big loss, then tell them to leave. Yeah. They don't want them to make the money back. Slot machines, yeah.
What happens if somebody pulls out before they come get them? Do they kick them out?
What happens if someone pulls out before they get to them? They really can't do much about it. If they stand up from the table before they get caught. But their job is to protect the money, because they want to make the money. So Vegas is, casinos is all about sense enjoyment, because they'll give you the free drinks as long as you're gambling. The moment you run out of money, the cocktail waitress and the bartender's like, "Nope, we can't do nothing. We just, there's no more free drinks. You're not gambling." And so, games like roulette, roulette looks so simple, but they have all the odds figured out. They got everything all just so figured out to where, one could think that they could, continue to make, to double up on their bet until they win, but they got the odds figured out just right to where you can only get up to a max bet. They have a minimum bet and a max bet. Okay? And this is to keep everything in line. So games like roulette, where you're betting on the numbers or on the odds and evens or red and black, odds and evens, it gives about 1 in 1 chance. So 50-50 chance. Pretty much. Well, it's actually about 48.9% chance to win. So that's your best bet to win. So a lot of people think that they place a bet on red. Okay, hit black. I'll double up my bet and place it on red again. Okay, hit red. And okay, they win. But the thing is set up in such a way because you got 0 and double 0. on there that's not black or red, it's green. And it's set up in such a way that you might think that you're getting ahead, you're making a good deal by doubling up on your bet every time you lose, until you win it back. But the roulette wheel is strange, because after about 7 times you've doubled up, you've reached the max bet. You can't double up anymore. You've already reached the max bet. And so when you lose on the max bet, you just lost everything. You can't double that. You can put the max bet out there, but you've already lost all those previous bets plus max bet. That's where they get you. So they love people who double up on their bets on roulette. Krishna's saying, of the gambling, of the cheats, I am also the gambling of the cheats. So he's a master gambler. He's a master cheat. And it's interesting just to see out in the casinos. See, I used to play, I used to, try to scam the casinos myself. Because after figuring them out a little bit, realizing, because they have these point cards, these cards that you go in the casino and you get a player's card, and you put this in the slot machine as you're playing, and it gives you points for every dollar you're spending, and these points you can exchange for perks, like free meals, or get enough points to get a free hotel room. Get enough points to go see a show, just different levels of points. Those are for the suckers. They like people trying to rack up the points, because as long as they're racking up the points, they're spending money on the machines. There's a way to bypass that, because this is what they do. They want the big players. They want the players with lots of money. So to bypass the casino, the point system, to become a prestige player, to where they're catering to you first-class service, you got to look like you're rich. So this is what I did one time when I went to Vegas. I took $5,000 with me. I went in to play roulette. I bought in at $5,000 on the table and started placing $100 bets on, red or black, and it was like 48% odds. So, and I did that for an hour. So I was a little bit up after an hour after $100 bets. But what this did, this alerted the casino host, because they get your card and they put in the computer what you bought in at, $5,000. And what your average bet is, $100 bet. And that sends out an alert to the casino host, saying, hey, we got someone with money. So within a half hour, you get a tap on the shoulder. Hey, excuse me, sir, I'm the host of blah, 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 blah casino. Here's my card. Anything you need at all, you give me a call. By the way, we've already upgraded your room. And anything that you have at our restaurants, just charge to your room. And when you check out, we'll take care of everything. And that's when you stand up from the table and, cash out. Now you've got first-class service. You don't have to gamble at that point in time. You've already got them. You already got the first-class service, so you can cheat the casino doing it that way, if you're brave enough and have enough money.
Wow.
But yeah, the casinos are meant to cheat you. A lot of people have these dreams to go out and try to win a lot of money. In actuality, they like to get people hooked. They like people to get hooked on those dopamine rushes that they're trying to, Because once a person's hit that one jackpot, got like it's several $1,000s, and then generally what happens? They go back and gamble it again. So many times I've seen it there in the casinos. People are chasing that dopamine rush. Oh yeah, I won $5,000, yay! And 6 hours later, they're flat broke because they gambled it all back because they were after that sense gratification.
Wow.
Casinos know that. Casinos know about the sense gratification. They're all about gratifying the senses. And they're trying to get you to indulge in that sense gratification of gambling. It's so interesting because when I was portering is, you're basically cleaning up around the casino, emptying the trash, emptying the ashtrays, cleaning the bathrooms. Seems like a very simple job, but you have to be aware because you have some people that are very, very superstitious. Emptying ashtrays. A few cigarette butts in an ashtray, that's usually generally safe to empty. If you come across an ashtray with cigarette butts, like built up, like overflowing, piling up, a tower, big, just way overflowing the ashtray, don't touch it. That's somebody's good luck charm. They think by piling their cigarettes that way, that's going to give them a jackpot. People slip into this ignorance, thinking all these good luck schemes and good luck charms, and you find all kinds of good luck charms that they do in casinos. But the ashtray was the tall tale sign that they're piling up the cigarette butts, because they're expecting to get a jackpot.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's what sense enjoyment can do to you.
Wow.
Make you delusional. Wow. Delusional.
That's crazy.
So casinos are experts at cheating people. Experts at having those odds just right, because there's games that seem so easy, like, why can't I make money on this? Like Baccarat. It's a very, very even game. But it's done just like roulette, to where they have a minimum bet and a max bet. And even if you think you can double up and double up and double up until you win, you're going to get caught in that scenario to where it's gone so many times, and then you lost all of your winnings and lost a whole lot more than what you put into it. And it happens all the time. And people try to outsmart the casinos, but the casinos, they built their wealth. They built these big, massive buildings off people trying to beat the casinos. And so much like the casinos, Maya, this world of illusion. Many of us are trying to beat this world of illusion, trying to make it big, trying to think that we'll reach the top and have happiness. That's just all. But Maya's just cheating you, because there's no real fulfillment. There's no real happiness. Just like the casinos, it's all an illusion. You can put all your best efforts into this material world, build up all kinds of wealth, prestige, and fame, but it's all an illusion. It's not fulfilling. Death comes for you. Poof. You gotta start over. Place your bets. Text 37. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. Of the sages, I am Vyasa, and among Greek thinkers, I am Usana. Purport. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality Godhead, and Vasudev is the immediate expansion of Krishna. Both Lord Krishna and Baladev appear as the sons of Vasudeva. Amongst the sons of Pandu, Arjuna is famous and valiant. Indeed, he is the best of men and therefore represents Krishna. Among the Munis of learned men, conversant in Vedic knowledge, Vyasa is the greatest because he explained Vedic knowledge in many different ways for the understanding of the common mass of people in the age of Kali. And Vyasa is also known as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, Vyasa also represents Krishna. Kavish are those who are capable of thinking thoroughly on any subject matter. Among the Kavis, Dushana was the spiritual master of the demons. He was extremely intelligent, far-seeing, political, and spiritual in every way. Thus, Usana is another representative of the opulence of Krishna.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Ushana is actually Shukracharya. So if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam and you hear the name Shukracharya come up, that's who Ushana is.
Okay. Text 38. Among punishments, I am the rod of chastisement, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am wisdom. Report. There are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down the miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the rod of chastisement represents Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Among the confidential activity of hearing, thinking and meditating, silence is the most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. This man, the wise man, is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior natures. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. Text 39. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. There is no being, moving or unmoving, that can exist without me. Purport. Everything has a cause, and that cause or seed of manifestation is Krishna. Without Krishna's energy, nothing can exist. Therefore, he is called omnipotent. Without his potency, neither the movable nor the unmovable can exist. Whatever existence is not founded on the energy of Krishna is called Maya, that which is not. Text 40. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Purport. As stated in the Vedic literature, although the opulences and energies of the Supreme are understood in various ways, there is no limit to such opulences. Therefore, not all the opulences and energies can be explained. Simply a few examples are being described to Arjuna to pacify his inquisitiveness. Text 41. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Purport. Any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence. Whether it be in the spiritual or material world, anything externally opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. Text 42. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Purport. The Supreme Lord is represented through the entire material universe by his entering into all things as the Supersoul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as a Supersoul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. Worship of the demigods is discouraged herein because even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva only represent part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of everything, of everyone born, and no one is greater than him. He is Samatma, which means that no one is superior to him, and that no one is equal to him. In the Vishnu mantra, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. Lord is all-pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the Supersoul, who enters into everything that is everything that is. Pure devotees, therefore, concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in a transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter, in verses 8 to 11. That is the way of pure devotional service, how one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the opulence of the Absolute. Chapter 11, Universal Form. Arjuna said, I have heard your instructions on confidential spiritual matters, which you have so kindly delivered unto me, and my illusion is now dispelled. Purport. This chapter reveals Krishna as the cause of all causes. He is even the cause of the Mahavishnu, and from him the material universe emanates. Krishna is not an incarnation. He is the source of all incarnations. That has been completely explained in the last chapter. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he says that his illusion is over. This means that Arjuna no longer thinks of Krishna as a mere human being, as a friend of his, but as a source of everything. Arjuna is very enlightened and is glad that he has a great friend like Krishna, but now he is thinking that although he may accept Krishna as the source of everything, others may not. So in order to establish Krishna's divinity for all, he is requesting Krishna in this chapter to show his universal form. Actually, when one sees the universal form of Krishna, one becomes frightened, like Arjuna. But Krishna is so kind that after showing it, he converts himself again into his original form. Arjuna sees to what Krishna says several times. Krishna is speaking to him just for his benefit. Arjuna acknowledges that all this is happening to him by Krishna's grace. He is now convinced that Krishna is the cause of all causes and is present in everyone's heart as a super soul. Hare Krishna. Wait, you mean to tell me you've been my best friend my whole life and now I'm just figuring out you're the supreme God? Man, what a mind trip that would be. Can you imagine hanging out with your best friend? You know, having wrestled him, you know, having played games with him, you know, hanging out with him, eating with him, you know, playing jokes with him.
Yeah. Chastising him.
Chastising him, yeah. You know, then all of a sudden you realize, oh wait, oh geez, oh you're God. Oh geez. All the offenses I have done. Oh my word. I mean, that must be a mind-blowing job. Wow. Poor Arjuna. I mean, to see the universal form that's coming up, geez. You know, all the opulence of the universal form is just seeing everything all at once. That's great. This chapter always amazes me, you know, how it's played out. Text 2. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, as realized through your inexhaustible glories. Purport. Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as lotus-eyed. Krishna's eyes appear just like the petals of a lotus flower. Out of his joy, for Krishna has assured him, in the last verse of the previous chapter, that he sustains the entire universe with just a fragment of himself. He is the source of everything in this material manifestation, and Arjuna has heard from the form, and Arjuna has heard this from the Lord in detail. Arjuna further knows that in spite of his being the source of all appearances and disappearances, he is aloof from them. His personality is not lost, although he is all-pervading. That is the inconceivable opulence of Krishna, which Arjuna admits that he has thoroughly understood. Text 3. Translation. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, I yet wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Purport. The Lord said that because he entered into the material universe by his personal representation, the cosmic manifestation has been made possible and is going on. Now, as far as Arjuna is concerned, he is inspired by the statements of Krishna, but in order to convince others in the future who may think that Krishna is an ordinary person, he desires to see him actually in his universal form, to see how he is acting from within the universe. Although he is a part of it, he's apart from it. Arjuna's asking the Lord permission is also significant. Since the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is present within Arjuna himself. Therefore, he knows the desire of Arjuna, and he cannot understand that Arjuna has no special desire to see him in his universal form, for he is completely satisfied to see him in his personal form, Krishna. But he can understand that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to convince others. He did not have any personal desire for the confirmation. Krishna also understands that Arjuna wants to see the universal form to set a criterion for the future. There would be so many impostors who would pose themselves as incarnations of God. The people therefore should be careful. One who claims to be Krishna should be prepared to show his universal form to confirm his claim to the people. Yeah, so many people come across. I've come across people who try to tell me that they're God. You know, it's interesting, you know. Even working in a hospital, you know, for some time, they say, you know, if you want to meet Jesus, just wait long enough, he'll be coming through the ER doors, because there's always, you know, some fool that, you know, is high on drugs or whatnot that claims to be Jesus. They think that they're God. You got these kinds of rascals all throughout the world. And, well, the test is, well, show you your universal form. You're God, show you your universal form. They can't do it. They're not God. Final text for this evening, text 4. You think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, and kindly show me that universal self. It is said that one can neither see, hear, understand, or perceive the Supreme Lord, Krishna, by material senses. But if one engage in loving transcendental service to the Lord from the beginning, then one can see the Lord by revelation. Every living entity is only a spiritual spark, therefore it is not possible to see or to understand the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's devotee does not depend on his speculative strength. Rather, he admits his limitations as a living entity and acknowledges Krishna's inestimable position. Arjuna could understand that for a living entity it is not possible to understand the unlimited infinite. If the infinite reveals himself, then it is possible to understand the nature of the infinite by the grace of the infinite. The word yogi swara is also significant here. His Lord has inconceivable power. If he likes, he can reveal himself by his grace, although he is unlimited. Therefore, Arjuna pleads for the inconceivable grace of Krishna. He does not give Krishna orders. Krishna is not obliged to reveal himself to anyone, unless one surrenders fully in Krishna consciousness and engages in devotional service. Thus, it is not possible for persons who depend on the strength of their mental speculation to see Krishna. Any last minute questions or comments? That is our time for today. Srimad